Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome to our Friday night OpenTTD Mod Dev Workshop. This started off as a one-off experiment, but we seem to be still here, don't we? These sorts of things happen quite often, don't they, here on this channel? The Mod Dev, not the Mod Dev. A Mod Dev. Good evening, hello, Jackamak DJ Egg, and any other moderator that seems to be around, along with a lot of other people popping in as well. Hi, Fran the Man, Gerard. Oh, Adam's here, and so are other people. Yeah, 36,500. Yeah, that's the number of. Oh, let me get my finger in the right place. That's the number of subscribers at the moment. Yeah, and I had to change that in the middle of last night's live stream, which is quite cool. It's quite fun. So hello there, Master Hellish here, and if you're here now thinking what's going on, well, don't worry. I'm going to inform you about everything that you need to know. We recently pulled the winner of our giveaway for the monthly giveaway of the 500 EVE Online Plex. So at the moment, there is no monthly giveaway, but when there is one, there'll be one announced on social media, and then you'll be able to take part at portal.masterhellish.net. And we've got our community gaming nights at the moment going on Mondays on the Variety channel. If you're not subscribed to my Variety channel, get yourself over there. There's a link at the bottom of my channel and at the bottom of my website. Get over to the Variety channel and get over to the community gaming night channel on the Discord. Okay, so don't forget the Discord. We're doing Factorio this Monday, and then we might be nipping back to Eve, but we're going to switch between Factorio and Eve for a while now, I think. And then once we finish switching backwards and forwards, I think some DayZ's on the card, so that'll be quite nice. We have the Master Hellish OpenTTD server running still, and we did have some disruption while I was troubleshooting some network issues, but that's all up and running again, just like it was. I think we're due a reset sometime soon, so we'll see about that. And thank you very much for liking, subscribing, watching all the videos and that sort of good stuff. It is much appreciated, including the Viewer Plus stuff, of course, probably the best way to support me, I think so, anyway. And we're going to do some mod dev. We're going to do some mod dev tonight. Now, like the title of the live stream kind of indicates, we're going to be working on some disasters. So what we're trying to do at the moment is make some sort of battle royale sort of script, some sort of fight open TTD mode thing, but we're broken that up into various different jobs and various different tasks. So what I thought was we'll make a script where we can have extra random disasters, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, a lot of online services and outages. Ooh, I haven't seen any outages on my side of things, so that's not something I've noticed. But it is scary when those sorts of things happen. When all those sorts of things fall to pieces. Now let me just adjust my screen here so that I can make sure that you guys will be able to see it. Because when I'm in Visual Studio, which is the application we're using today, I don't have it as zoomed in as normal. So these are the scripts that we've got. We've got a cargo tracker, which was my first proper script. Really quite nice. There's an evil fish tracker that was... who added that? It was Cookie. Cookie added that script. This is actually a collaboration, this whole thing. Hellish Royale is what we're working on. Hello Tycoons was just kind of like a basic thing. And Rainbow Company, DG Egg added Rainbow Company. We've got the stack tracker script, which was my second script, and it was really quite useful in a number of different things. I didn't make the stack tracker script because I wanted to find something to make. I made it because I needed some stats, and it works, so that's good. Now I do want to upgrade the stat tracker script. I want to add the features to count the number of industries and count the number of towns and stuff, and some extra bits like that. So we'll see how that goes. And then there's the testing script that we were working on at the time before last. And vehicle counter is kind of redundant now. Vehicle counter is how the stat tracker started, counting the number of vehicles. I was like, hey, we can do other stuff, and it became stat tracker. So I think vehicle counter is probably going to get removed at some point soon. Okay. Right. Yeah, I think we're all ready to roll. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to take a number of ideas and thoughts, and we're going to make some stuff happen. Okay, we're going to create our own little disasters. Now, one of the things I haven't got up is my my thing. What's it called? Window to the correct folder. And I do have a folder with all this stuff in somewhere, and I've got a little file that will transfer the scripts you see here in VS Code over to OpenTTD. And it looks like now I haven't got that window open. Now I wonder where it is. So it's probably in the documents OpenTTD, and then if we go, I think content, download, and game. Yes, there it is. Pull in new scripts. Fantastic. Now, one of the ones I want to have a look at is I want to have a look at the simple city builder. Oh, actually, let's have a look. I'm going to have a little tiny tangent because I worked out some statistics recently. As somebody who does the YouTubes, I look at the stats about how things are going and what's going on.
Well, here we go. It's tangent time.
And you better be wearing some socks because I'm probably about to blow them off. It's interesting, some of these statistics. Now, a lot of people think that my main content is OpenTTD. That's actually incorrect. Almost exactly 30% of my content is OpenTTD. The other 70% is other games. Now, if you say, well, okay, yeah, but no other one game is more than 30%. Yes, you're right. The greatest single game I do is OpenTTD. But OpenTTD is not most of what I do. It's only 30% of what I've done over the last year. Okay. And what I did is that I ignored stats from things that haven't been looked at more than a year ago. Okay, so we're looking in recent years. In recent time, 30% of my content was OpenTTD. Now, interestingly, 95% of the views in the same time period was OpenTTD. So 30% of my content was attributed to 95% of my views, which I thought was kind of interesting. Now, speaking of views, we've got some interesting stats on views happening at the minute on the channel. And that is normally one of the ways I can see how busy, how active the channel is I have a look at... Yeah, DJ Egg, I thought the 2080 rule is what it reminded me of, except instead of 2080, it's 30 or 95. But yeah, the 2080 rule works so often in so many things. But one of the metrics I look at the most is how many views I've had in the last 48 hours. And it used to be that I'd say, okay, so sometimes I sit around the 20,000, 30,000. If that goes up to above 30,000 and I get close to 40,000, then things are going well. And over the last few days, that's gone up and I've gone past 40,000. Then it went past 50. Yesterday it went past 60 and then 70. We're currently at, let me just refresh this. Yes, 85,965 views in the last 48 hours. Things are going a little bit crazy on the channel as of late. And I think that number will only climb looking at these stats because ones that were doing well are now starting to go a little bit parabolic. Hello, everybody. This still counts as not late. We're doing a quick tangent time because I've got some interesting stats. So normally, you know what? I might try and bring this one up on the screen because I'll show you this one. I won't show you all the graphs because looking at graphs for ages can be boring, right? But I'll show you this one as an example. Yes, we're in the middle of a tangent. What you might have just missed was that OpenTTD is only 30% of my content, but attributes for 95% of the views. Yes. Which I feel is quite interesting. Right, now, is it just me, or is there something new in YouTube where everything's in grayscale until the page is completely loaded? I don't know. Right, let me have a look. See, can I get this up on a screen by itself? And can I show you guys this easily? Right, let's try this way. Okay. Yeah, right. It's hard to see on this particular way of the graph. But what I'll do is I will draw on the screen and I will exaggerate what's going on here so that you can see what's going on. So normally when a video starts off, it starts off at the X and Y 0 and it comes up at a certain rate. And then after a while, it will probably peter off as less and less people are interested in it. And then it'll just keep going with small raises, right? That's what's normally happening, right? But what I've noticed with some of my videos recently is that they've started to do that. And as soon as they start to tail off, the angle then changes and it starts to rise up. And you can kind of see that here. So there's the kind of normal bit. But then somewhere around here, maybe here, instead of kind of going and starting to tail off completely, it then kind of keeps going. And then somewhere around here, you can see it almost starts bending the other way, right? So it starts rising. Now that shows an acceleration in views, when normally you don't normally get that in most of the things that are going on. And then right about here, okay, it's hard to see on this graph, but there's another rate of change. Now, I might be able to do straight lines on this, and that might help. Yeah, here we go. So there's a straight line that goes right kind of through here, and here, and here. That shows a kind of rate of change. This section that I've just drawn, that's the kind of curve where it's bending upwards, right? But then there's another rate of change here, and this one's pretty significant because it seems to be bending upwards rather than just going at a new level. It might just be that this bit at the end just ends up being... Oh, you can't see past my head. Oh, right, hang on a second. Let me rezoom on that. There we go. So, this is what I was talking about here. So this is the straight bit, and you can see that there's a change here. Right? And there's a turn. Now, I don't know whether that turn is going to be another straight line that goes like this instead of that, right? Or whether this is then going to be part of another curve. So I'm not sure. And so there's some interesting things happening on the channel at the moment. I've been sharing some bits and bobs with the Viewer Plus subscribers, but I fancied like doing a bit of a tangent. Yeah, it's good, yeah. But as a content creator, I'm now going, well, why is this happening to this particular short and a couple of others that are a bit like it? And I've actually been speaking to some other creators as well, and we think that there's a bit of a formula coming around, a bit of a way that these videos are being made and the way they're being cut and the kind of pace that they're at, and it seems to be clicking with the viewers quite a lot. Anyway, I just thought I'd tell you that and share that with you. So it's interesting. I mean, it's almost every time I look, we're going past another 1,000 in views. Yeah, so we've just gone to 86,000 views in the last 48 hours now. Probably some sort of A/B testing. No, I'm not running A/B testing for my titles or thumbnails on that. Sometimes when you do A/B testing, nothing changes. Sometimes when you do A/B testing, it does change. But anyway, back to the code with Hellish Royale. So one of the things I want to see is I want to be able to put the disasters in their own class because I want separation of, like, stuff. So, if we're going to use the city builder script as an example, right? They have a class or a file called goalprogress.nut, and in there is a whole bunch of functions. It doesn't seem to be an object of any sort. It's not really put inside a class. It's just a collection of functions. All right. And how is that then called in the main? So let's bring in the main. There we go. And we're going to find references to that. Okay. So there's a variable with the same name as the class, which we don't want. Yeah, there's a game setting. Live weather service, welcome. Here we go. So towards the bottom of the file, we are requiring the other file. And we're pulling it in like that. Let's do it like that for now. I've got a funny feeling working with classes might be nice. So we can actually have the disaster class. Or disasters class. Because then we can do more than just simple bits and bobs. But let's do that. So in our main class here. Hang on a minute. Where are these requires? Are these requires just right at the bottom of the file? Does appear to be the case. Now, are they inside the class? So we've got constants and some enums. And then we've got the main class. Yeah, they're outside it. So if we do something similar for Hellish Royale, which is this one. At the minute, our main class is just called main class, which is fine. We can change that later if we want. We can require our stuff there. And then what we can do is we can add ourselves a new nut file called disasters. Okay. So then we can just call some of the functions that are in there. There we go. Let's see, we don't need that file. We've got too many files open. Stats tracker, cargo tracker, plans. Right. So I think what we'll do, we get rid of the README, is that we will make a disaster of earthquake, because we did most of the code for that already. We're going to change it around a little bit. Hello, Master Hellish. Did you manage to fix your Git name issue? It's not a name issue. It's an account thing. So I have two different Git accounts for two different projects. There's this and something else. And all I have to do is wipe my Windows credentials and log back into the website. And then Visual Studio then starts using the correct credentials for some reason. Anyway, let's have a look, because inside the testing script, I think it was inside the main one, we have this, right? This little bit of code here is a little for loop that shakes the screen, right? So we want to kind of take this and change it into some like better code to be an earthquake, right? So the idea is that the earthquake disaster that we're making is a hindrance to the players because it moves the viewport, shakes it around, stops you being able to do whatever you was in the middle of doing, and then you have to go back to the middle of what you was doing and stuff like that. Now, maybe we can make it destroy a couple of buildings or something, but for now, we won't do that. All right. So what I'll do, we'll just grab this code that we did last time and jump into our disasters code. And we want to put it inside a function. Oh, I just accidentally closed a window. Oh, it's the main file. That's an interesting way of writing class functions. How does it do it in the goal progress nut? Okay, so... Oh, okay, so it still uses the same class. So we would basically use the same structure that we've got here. So at the top of the file, we'll probably put some information and stuff later. And then we're going to have a function which we can call earthquake. And we might call it actually do earthquake. Now, I'm not sure. I think we use capitalization on function names like that, like do earthquake, right? And we don't want this while loop in there. We want this. Okay. But we're going to upgrade it. We're going to be able to say where we want the epicenter to be, and we're going to say how severe we want it to be and how long we want it to be. And I want to be able to pass those variables into this function. Okay. Now, if somebody wants to start working on a different disaster function, maybe even jump in the voice chat, do a little bit of collaboration, maybe a bit of bouncing backwards and forwards, maybe a little bit of copying and pasting of some code and sending it across, then do let me know. Okay, give a shout. Oh, I don't know if anybody fancies having a try. I know there's a few in the community that can code, but some of them do it for a job and they don't want to do it outside the job, and I totally get that. That's cool. But here we go. Right then, so we've done that. Okay, we've created our file called disasters.nut, and in the main file at the bottom we've required the disasters.nut file. So this doesn't actually change the code structurally in terms of the logic of the structure. It just physically moves all of those functions into a different file, so it makes it easier to find. AI does most of my coding at work now, says Infernal Badger. Ooh, yeah. Can we have English in the chat only, please? Unfortunately, it's the only common language between myself and the moderators, so we need to be able to understand what's going on. So let's make a note here. Now remember, I'm dyslexic, so I might type things wrong, and it doesn't matter to begin with. We'll fix it later. So we want... Actually, I'll dictate. We want an epicenter. We want a severity. And we want a duration. So we'll take the words that I just said, and there we go. We've just created some variables, or we will create some variables. There we go. Hello, Hinkus Maximus. Welcome to the stream. Or welcome. You know what? Bear with me a second, folks. I just need a little drink. Yeah, it's good, it's good. I know this is a sneak bottle, but there is water in there. I had a sneak earlier. I had Purple Storm, one of my favourites. Right then, so this local X and local Y is probably going to be replaced by the epicenter, right? Because that's the coordinates of where the epicenter is. This 500 is kind of like the number of ticks that it happens, or how that's the length, right? So ideally I want to be able to pass these into the do earthquake function, but the language that this is written in is Squirrel, and I'm not 100% sure on the syntax. I could give it... Oh, hang on a bit. Look, I think we got some examples here. Oh, you just pass them in. I don't think you have to give them data types of any description. Okay, so here, look, when you're running the load function gets past a version, and it gets past a table, and then that table gets used here, and the version doesn't get used in this particular example. That's a bad load function. It doesn't work properly. So what we can do is actually just say, okay, the epicenter, severity, and duration are just passed into the function. There we go. Now the epicenter is one variable, but we need two different values. And I'm not aware of a good data type that would do that. let's see. So what we're really looking for is in Squirrel, is there a good data type that I can use to store an X and Y within one variable? And I don't know if anybody in chat knows the answer, but that's kind of an open question. Apparently we can bundle them in as one variable somehow. Okay. So you kind of create an object with an X and with a Y. Okay. So then you would do epicenter.x and epicenter.y to get what you needed. So the starting... actually, X and Y continue to change, don't they? Because you have the steps. So this X and this Y should really be called current X and current Y. And then you set them at the beginning to the epicenter. Right? I think we use underscores. So current X, current Y. There we go. Good evening, Vadchuk. And then what we do is that we make, at the beginning, we make them equal to the epicenter of X and the epicenter of Y, right? And then the example that we were given is something like, we would call it with something like epicenter equals XY, like that, or something. We'll try this and see what happens. Like I said, I'm not familiar with Squirrel and the way that that works. So the way that this bit of function now works is that we're going to get some random values called steps, okay, for each time in the loop. And then we decide to add or subtract by those steps and apply the steps to the current. Okay, like modify the current. And then we get the center offset. Now, that's not the middle tile. That's just the tile that we are working with. So we'll call that current tile or just tile. And then there's a get. Right, this is weird. Okay, so it starts on that point. Look, it's getting the map size. Yeah, this bit needs changing. This bit that behind my head. There we go. This bit needs changing. So all we need to do is, this was a offset from the center constantly. But if we're starting with a particular location, and then each time we're going through this loop, we're modifying that. Yeah, then we just want to use that. So we use current X and current Y. And that just gives us our tile. And there we go. We just scroll to the tile. So we should be able to call this. Now, the only thing now is that we're not using severity or duration yet. So duration is like how long to do it in. Okay, so maybe we should make some notes. Yeah, we'll make some notes about the variables. About the... These aren't... Well, they are variables, but... What do you call them? The words have gone out of my head. Duration. So... Let's say, for example, it might be, 100 to 500. You probably wouldn't want it 500. Let's put the severity down there. Oh no, wait, that's the duration. There we go. That's where the duration goes in. Now the severity is about how much the screen shakes, and you can see here we've got a random range from 3 to 1. So the severity is going to be 1 to N. Recommended, maybe 2 to 5. Yeah? Hey K Shizzle. Or 2 to 4. I didn't even spell recommended right. Oh, by the way, folks, usually what I do after a live stream is I go through and just run this through a spell checker and stuff before I push it up. So, there we go. So then we get that severity, and that severity is this number here, right? So this one gives... Well, I'm not sure that... I think I changed this, so it gives it actually 1 to 4. Because I think this number is a 0 to whatever you put in, and then it's adding 1. So this is 0 to 3, add 1, so that'd be 0 to 4. Let's get rid of these comments, because they're old. And then the severity goes in here. Okay. So as long as I haven't broken anything, we should be able to call do earthquake with these particular variables, and it will still shake the screen around exactly like it did before. But now we can call different severity earthquakes and choose different locations for it to happen. So I guess let's test that. So what we're going to do, going to go back into the main file, and there's not much in this. So what we'll do is we'll say this. Let's see what we got. Do loop. We put it in the init, didn't we? In the post init. Where's post init? Here it is. We're in the right place here. Yeah, okay. Let's get rid of all of these things in the post init. We don't want them. And instead of calling post init in the post init, we're going to call do earthquake. And in the do earthquake, we're going to pass some variables. So we're going to pass the epicenter. We're going to pass the severity, which we will do as like 3. And we're going to pass the duration, which we will do as 200, right? So in theory, once the game loads, we should have an earthquake. Ansi, Bpop, hello, welcome. I have no idea if this is going to work, because I never do. But in theory, I don't see anything wrong with this. I haven't caught myself making any mistakes yet. Obviously, this all needs cleaning up. I'm not sure I really like that. We'll see. We will see. So now, I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to my folder and pull in all the new scripts. There we go. We'll go over to OpenTTD and we'll abandon the game. And we will try running a Hellish Royale if it'll let us. So, is it even in there? I'm not seeing it. I think I broke it. Let's check what it's called. Let's go in the info. It's called Hellish. Oh, it's just called Hellish Royale. I think we normally put MH in front of it. That's maybe why I didn't see it. Because if we look at the cargo tracker, it says MH Cargo Tracker. So MH Royale. Fair enough. Let's just push the script over there and give it another try. Version of the API is 14, so let's see. I might actually need to restart the game. I was going to restart it quickly. It's not like OpenTTD takes long, does it, to load? I mean, you're looking at it loading in real time now, and it's done. Right, game script. Select. Oh, here we go. That's better. Cargo tracker, Royale, Hello Tycoon, stat tracker, testing script. Testing script's probably going to go bye-bye at some point. Or we might have a folder called, like, decommissioned or something. Anyway, Hellish Royale, coming soon. Select. I could have a go at adding a meteor strike disaster that would randomly destroy and create an area somewhere on the map, if that's even possible. Yeah, Infernal Badger, we did some testing for that, and you can dig a hole. And you can try and destroy stuff in the center. But if it is an industry, or if it is a company-owned thing, like track, it won't lower the land and you won't destroy it. But if it's like a building, like a house building or trees, then it will. So there are things you could do that would make it possible so that you could destroy something like that. Maybe. The meteor strike one could be interesting, but I think you would have to add something which would then first look at the tile. Right, here we go, folks. Here we go. Right, Infernal Badger, if you want to check this out, you would need to get the tile, check what's on the tile and which company owns it. Then you'd have to impersonate the company, then delete what's on the tile, then lower the land after unimpersonating the company. Then it would work. So you'd be able to do something like that. Are you guys talking about burgers again? Oh, I want a wild burger. Right. So now let's see if I've broken everything, if we get any errors. So in theory, the screen should shake a bit. And it did. It went a bit nuts though, didn't it? It went. I think it zoomed all the way over there. Yeah. Can you find out how the UFO or subsidence wipes out the tiles? Unfortunately not, because those are things that are written into the game. I don't think subsidence is in OpenTTD, actually. I'd have to double check that. I'm pretty sure it's in the original, right? But you certainly can't do that through the API. Hey, above the line, what do you miss? We took some of our testing from 2 live streams ago, and we're putting it into a proper function that we can configure. So if, in theory, if I restart... Yeah, it shot down the other end of the world and back again. I think we got an integer overflow. Or underflow. Can you add an invisible UFO to do damage? You can certainly just have damage being done. That's not a problem. Yeah, I think what happened was we started near the edge here. We went over the edge, and so the camera went down there and back again. Let me show you. Yeah? So what we need to do is that we need some safeguards in our script to say, hey, if you go off the edge, don't. So first thing we're going to do is we just say don't do negatives. And we also need to get the maximum map size and say don't go beyond that. Right, so let's go back to our code. And in our testing script, right, where we got this from, we've got the get map size. So we can actually find that out. So let's borrow that. And we'll go back to our disasters code here. So before we do any of our looping, okay, we're going to do GS got map size for max X. And then we'll do the same for the max Y. So that we can like kind of trim it. Okay, so we've got a current X and current Y. max X and max Y. Now, obviously, we don't want to go negative either, right? So what we'll do, you can see where we apply this step. We've got a step which is either plus or negative, and we've got the current. This is where we're then going to do our checks. So we're going to say, if... Oh, what's the syntax for this? Have we got any... there we go. So it's in brackets with indentation. Okay, so we're going to say that if current X is less than 0, then we're going to say current X equals 0. Right? And then we're going to... there might be neater ways of doing this, but I don't know off the top of my head what it might be. So if current Y is less than 0, then we set it to 0. These are our little safeguards. So we've got off the end of the map one way and the other. I think this is probably the best way of doing it. But we also want to say if current X is greater than the map size, the maximum X, we just set it to the maximum X. So we can bump up against the edge, but we never go over the edge. And then we do the same for Y. And I think this will actually solve that little bug. Y, 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 Y. Now, it's like I said, not the neatest, maybe not the cleverest way of doing it, but I think for now, that will solve the problem of going off the edge of the map. So if I save that, do my scripts to things to pull the scripts over, we jump back to the game and restart. There you are, look. We stay in one part of the world. We bumped up against the side of the world and we kept moving. Do you want to see that again? Bumped up against the edge of the world. There was no darting to the other side of the world and back again. Alright? That's that fixed. And you know what? It works a dream. Let's do a quick play around with that. So let's say when we call it, let's make it you know, further inland. We'll go 200 blocks in that way, 200 tiles in that way. We'll give it a longer duration, so it's going to go for... Let's make it go for a really, really long time. And let's make it really severe. Let's make it up to 10 each step. Now, hopefully, we should see it not near the edge of the map. We should see it shake more violently, and we should see it last for longer. And if that's the case, jobs are good. Are you making an earthquake? I only just joined a minute ago. Yes, we're making an earthquake event. That's why we made a function called do earthquake. Now, we kind of did the kind of proof of concept behind this a couple of streams ago, but now we're putting it and implementing it in a way that we'll be able to use in our Hellish Royale script. And we're giving it safeguards and making sure it works and so forth. So, let me transfer that over now to OpenTTD, and we'll go over ourselves and reload the script. So there we go. This time, further inland, more violent, and longer. Okay, so we are more inland. I think that does feel like it could be quite shakier, and it's definitely going on for longer. Here we go. Probably should define edge by percent. No. The function that's going to decide where the earthquake's going to be might need to do that. But this function doesn't care where the epicenter is. It just needs to know where the epicenter is. I understand what the code looks like, as I did coding of my own website at college, but I don't understand the language at the same time. Yeah, I struggle with that. Is that 1,000 ticks? I think it is 1,000 ticks. I think there's 72 ticks in a day for OpenTTD, although it is the 1st of January, and these ticks seem to go while the game's paused anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but we'll check into that. It's just the number of times that the loop goes through. So I think it might actually depend on processing speed of the server. Yeah. So I don't know Squirrel. At least I didn't know Squirrel when I started this series. So I know a little bit now. You'll be able to watch the destruction better if the camera only wobbled as opposed to running all over the place. Exactly. I mean, there might not be any destruction for the earthquake, but by doing it like this, right, we have created a function here that we can actually define different sorts of earthquakes. Okay, so we can say, hey, we want an earthquake here that shakes about terribly for a long period of time. Or we could come over here and we can just go, okay, we want it to shake around a tiny, tiny bit and do it for quite a short length of time, maybe 50, right? So we can actually very easily define the earthquake now and have different sorts of earthquakes and be able to use them in our script. So now I've changed it so it's a very small shake for a small amount of time. There you go. So that was much smaller. Obviously the screen zoomed to the earthquake first. There we are. Is the point to destroy structures or to make it harder to build? For this one at the moment, it's to make it harder to build. We could potentially do a little bit of destroying, but we have other disasters that could do destroying. So I think for the most part, earthquakes are probably just going to be a little bit of random shaking. And what we'll probably do is, before the disaster happens, or maybe afterwards, we could do a pop-up message saying, hey, there was an earthquake, right? So if we have a look at, let's see here, in our Hello Tycoon script, we've got a bit of code here that can show a news message, right? So if we grab that and put it in the disaster and actually just say, actually, let's have it outside of the loop, otherwise we'll end up with like 500 news messages. We can say there was an earthquake, right? So we can just pop up a news thing and just say, I mean, we'll probably not do that because do earthquake probably doesn't want to handle actually notifying them of a disaster. There'll probably be a function that says something like do disaster, and do disaster selects from the different disasters and handles how they are, right? Maybe it's worth to consider create a symbolic link to sources of the script instead of copying source for each case. Hang on a second, Adam. I need to process what you just said. Maybe it's worth considering a symbolic link to sources of the script instead of copying sources of each case. Yeah, exactly, Alexandra. Earthquake, rock, city name, number of casualties. Yeah, either presumed dead. Yeah, exactly. And what we can do is we can get a list of cities and we can find the center of the city and actually zoom the player there. Yeah. Oh, instead of copying the sources, the source files. I've just got a script that just runs it. And to be honest, it might be better. I don't know. We'll keep it going. Anyway, this is just an example to show a news message, and in theory it should just work. So let's jump over to the game now. If I restart it, it should do the shaking first. And then, oh, and once the game's unpaused, there was an earthquake, right? So exactly what you were saying, earthquake, rock, city name, but that would be probably handled by the do disaster. Or would it actually? Would it be handled by the do disaster? Maybe. Maybe it would be handled by the do earthquake, maybe it would be handled by the do disaster. But for now, I'm going to call that done. Right, we're going to go back to here, we're going to take that news message out. And we're going to give it an example usage. There we go. Now the epicenter, obviously, we should probably check to make sure it's on the map. New class, do disaster news. Exactly. Yeah. Well, you could actually do earthquake, and then you could have do disaster that like handles which disaster to happen. So we'll see. Is this going to destroy player-made structures as well? I don't think the earthquake is, but we've got other stuff like that might. Yeah. So, who's... Oh, Infernal Badger says a meteor strike. So a meteor strike would potentially do it. Now let's have a look at the plans document. Okay. So inside our project, we've got something called plans. So the objective is to be the last company standing. We've got events, earthquakes, screen shakes. Some things get blown up. Question mark? Maybe. We've got town growth explosion. We can do that. That could be a good fun thing to do. And then with EMPs and stuff. Yeah. Is it possible to do a random length and shake on the earthquake? Yeah, so what will happen is that this do earthquake can do it depending on what it's told to do. But what we'll do is here, wherever we're calling the do earthquake function, we'll have a bit of code that says, right, have we had an earthquake recently? Maybe. We might have it say, how bad do we want it to be? And then it will feed it through into this. Okay, so this was just for testing. And I'm going to comment that out for now. Right, so yeah, let's do a town growth explosion one. That could be interesting. So we'll call it... Oh, maybe we'll just call it town growth explosion. Rolling blackouts or greyouts, maybe. So that's one disaster. And these disasters might change. They might improve. But my job right now is just to get them going. Yeah, it's a baby boom. Or maybe people moving in. Could be people moving in. So there we go. We've got town growth explosion. Now, how do we do a town growth explosion? Let's use our... Now, there is a function in the API. Here's the API documentation. And there's a thing where you go into the towns. And there's a function somewhere, right? I'm sure there is. Oh, hang on, go back. There's a get growth rate. There's a set growth rate. And there's an expand town. Right? You need the town ID and an init. An int. A number of... I think that's a number of houses. Like, number of houses to add. EMP will be interesting. We might be able to get that one done tonight as well. We'll see. Players with Steam and diesel engines will be unaffected. I'm afraid not. No, we're just going to nuke a lot of them. No, because maybe it disrupts the... I don't know. Anyway, expand town, right? So we need to get the town ID. We'll get round to EMP later. We had some ideas for EMP, which was essentially... it could stop some vehicles, it could remove some orders from some vehicles, it could reverse some vehicles, and it can send some of them to the depot. So it basically just makes the vehicles go haywire. So for the town growth explosion, we're going to have to pass it a town ID. And... Oh, that's... Do we do that? No, we don't do capitals, do we? Town ID. Okay. And I think... Oh, and you know what? It is probably going to be quite similar to the API documentation, right? It's going to have an int for the number of houses. Right. Now, what did I do there? I went to a new tab. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go back here. There we go. So this is going to be like houses. We'll call it houses for now. But then I want it to happen over a period of time, maybe, or multiplier. Multiplier. So that we can then run it a number of times. So we can actually just do like a for loop as well, just like we did before. Okay. Now hang on a minute. How come we're doing the brackets on the for loop with lead in black bracket? Let's do some... What we got in the main case here? Looks like most of the brackets are on new lines. Did we do it for any... Oh, I see the while loop hasn't. Okay, so for functions, we'll do it on new lines. For everything else, we won't. So for this function, new line. That's not on a new line. Function, new line. This is not on a new line. There we go. So it's not a duration. It's a multiplier, right? In this case. Deaths from earthquakes. Yeah. Steam engines without any electronics components will be unaffected, but the diesel trains... but what you can say, Alexander, is that they all use a digital order system to tell them where to go. Which is why their orders get removed, or they turn around, or they just stop because they don't know what they're doing. So maybe it breaks that. Would sending one train an instruction to ignore its signal be too harsh? Potentially, Jan, but I don't think that's actually an option in the API. We'll just... hang on a second. Let me just get this bit. So expand town is the function name, and it comes from the GS town class. So if we do GS town dot expand town, and we pass it the town ID and the houses integer, that should be it for that function, unless we decide to add any other features. Reversing a train to crash. That's why we call it Hellish Royale. Indeed, Hellish Royale. This is probably going to be one of the most ridiculous scripts ever created for this game, but never mind. Now, I need to be able to get a town ID. Surely one of the towns has got to have an ID of 0, right? It's the first town. And for testing purposes, we can actually move the screen to that location. I think we can. Okay, so in our main... where's our post in it? Here we go. So instead of zooming the screen to an earthquake, what we're going to do is we're going to get a town. We're going to find out its location. We might be given a tile, and then we're going to scroll to that location, and then we're going to do this dot whatever the disaster's called. Town growth explosion. And it's going to be town, and then 110 maybe? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm coding. Can we do a random number for the... can do random... town count. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's get the tile location of a town. Okay, so if we look at the documentation and come out of here, there is something called town. There is a get town count, is valid town, get name, set text, get population, get location, and it returns a tile index and it's town ID. So we can just do this get location function for the in the GS town class, right? So we do GS town dot get location, right? And we just give it an index of 0 and see what happens. That then gives us our town tile. Yeah. What we can do is zoom the screen to that town tile. So no matter no matter which town that one is, we're just going there to have a look. Even if it doesn't crash, reversing 10 kilometers the wrong way down a track to reverse into the next depot would be plenty of disruption. Exactly right. Don't worry about that typo. That town ID is going to be 0. So this might actually already work. Obviously, we want to put some safeguards in, make it better, clean it up, maybe put some news in. But let's see. What should happen is when we start the script and it's initialized, it should go to a particular location, and it should get that town, scroll to the town, and then and grow the town. Potentially with 10 buildings. Or one building 10 times. It might need to unpause. I don't know. So in theory, let's see. Right, we got scrolled to this town. If I unpause the game. Yes, bits of road are building. And new buildings are there, look. It worked! Oh my goodness, everybody. Let's just lock trees. And should we do that again? So look, you can see that there's construction going on. The roads got bigger. Or did it? Did it? I think it did. Let's do it a little bit more extreme. Yeah, I know. First time counter. Let's go back to the code. Let's just say, okay, let's do 5 10 times and see what... This could potentially get crazy, but that's the point of this. It's ridiculous, right? Gamebreaker Zero, hello. Use a larger test sample. Exactly. That's what we're going to do. Right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, yes. That happened almost instantly. Huh. Didn't it? Didn't it just? That is definitely a bigger town. Right. I guess we're going to have to be sillier. Instead of that, let's do 100 times. No, wait. Oh, some other things have worked first time. Come on. Like, tell you what, this earthquake, that worked first time. Yes, we made an improvement so it didn't go off the edge of the map. I don't know if I'd call that not working. I'd call that better. There we go. Let's see if we can make it ridiculous. Let's see what happens. Restart. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Look at it grow. That's even with the game paused. Oh, it's still growing. I did 1,000, not 100, didn't I? Actually, that's not too bad. And then fast forward, and all of a sudden it's 11,000 in population. Right. So we can actually, by adjusting those two parameters, there is kind of like the growth amount and the growth speed. So if we have a look at this particular bit here, that's the number of houses in each like in each tick, but then the multiplier is like how many ticks. So I think renaming these would help. So like I don't think it's just houses. I think it does road as well. So calling it houses is misleading. So yeah, so if you see, the multiplier makes me think, oh, it just multiplies it. But it's not that. It's like the number of times that it grows. You could call it the looper or something like that. Houses we're going to call amount. Like it's the amount that it grows. And the multiplier is kind of more, Let's have a look. I call it the Great City Expansion Boom, says Jake. That's why it's called Town Growth Explosion. Realistically, an EMP would knock out signaling, which would limit the speed to visual break. Yeah, but the thing is that we're limited to the things that we can do within the GameScript API, right? So I think it was last live stream, we did zero coding and we went up and down this API looking at all the different things we could potentially do and kind of formed them into these ideas, right? What's the news message going to be for this one? Connor, I don't know. I don't know what the news message is going to be for the town explosion. We might even be able to have like a message a few days before it happens. I don't know. multiply is the wrong word for this. It needs to be like... It's like there's the amount of growth, and then there is the duration. It's like a duration, right? No, because it could... Because it does multiply it. We could call it the looper. The looper. Loop, like how many times it does it. You could say something like town blackout, population boom in 9 months, game breaker 0. Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Yeah. Mass population. You could even do it so that if a disaster happens in like a couple of nearby towns where the buildings get destroyed, then you could do a town growth explosion in a nearby town somewhere else. Or you could just have a look at which town is getting the most people coming in and just make it grow extra fast. So the town grows kind of like that's got the most infrastructure and stuff. I'm going to call it the looper, because I can't think of a more descriptive and better word at the moment. We'll get some example usage in there. And the example usage comes from... Where are we? Here we go. Now, before we put this one down to one side for now, should we do a ridiculous version? Let's do it crazy, okay? Let's do 100 for 100. Which would be 100 houses or roads 100 times. Looper, the Barrett Homes variable. Remember, these two lines of code are just here for testing purposes. This is the line that we'd end up calling. Right. Transfer to OpenTTD and restart. Oh, it's already huge. Oh, it's going crazy. Has it finished? That was so fast. Look at it grow. It's making me think we should actually put some sort of delay in there. Yeah, the problem is if you add a time delay, then it's going to cause a problem because the whole script's going to pause whilst that time delay is happening. So what we'd do is we would put multiple instances of this event to happen in a number of days, right? So you would say for the next 5 days, grow this town a little bit, and then the event handler would go, right, I need to grow that town, and then, the next day I need to grow it again, and then the next day I'll grow it again, so that the game constantly isn't just waiting a little while and then growing it and waiting and growing it. Okay. Let's just put some silly numbers in there and see if we can break the game, shall we? Right then. So let's add a 0 here and a 0 there. So I haven't just increased it by 10, I've increased it by 100. That's the Hellish Royale challenge. Imagine building a station in the middle and having that happen before you lay the tracks. Exactly. This is why it's a Hellish Royale, because it is a nightmare. We want it to be a nightmare, although there's going to be other parts that are going to make it better. We're just focusing on the disasters for now. Maybe first of all move the camera to the place and then do that stuff. I am doing. It's just not happening quick enough. I mean, we could add a delay in the code. Look. We're moving the viewpoint and then it's the growth explosion's happening. So I'm sure there's actually there's a sleep there, look. So if we sleep for, let's say 100 ticks. I think that I'm not sure how long that is. We'll see. It might be long enough for us to be able to zoom over there. There you go. Whoa! Oh, my PC just started whirring. Let's try that again, but we'll zoom out straight away. Look at it go! Now, there is kind of a maximum that the town growth algorithm can do, because it gets lost with it. You can't see, the button didn't work. Okay, here we go. So there's the town. Oh. Hang on a minute. The SOS got in the way. Thanks for the SOS. Right, here we go. Watch the town. Watch the town. Boom. I'm going to put a slightly longer delay in there so I can like get myself ready for it. Right, here we go. Let's try that again. Ready? So there's the town in the middle of the screen. Watch it go. Nowish. In a second. Here we go. There. The initial explosion is huge, right? Town ate the map. A little bit. It's weird that that town is town 0, though, right? Now, just because I'm feeling silly, should we do it to multiple cities? You almost made me worry broke something. No, the thing is I've got some buttons on my touch portal, and they don't. They work like 99% of the time. Sometimes it doesn't switch. So what we'll do, we'll grab. Now I'm just being silly now, right? So don't take this. So we're gonna go. We've got at least 50 cities on the town. Now have we got 50? We'll see. We'll add a tiny sleep in. And then this I value we'll put here like this. And people know what this is going to do. But we don't want it to be that much. No. We'll do that much. Oh, yeah, we could do GS Town count -1. Yeah. Stack Overflow incoming. No, it's not going to be a Stack Overflow. There's actually an error. What is it? There's something in here. Yeah, if we look at get town name, you can do precondition is valid town, and it returns the name of the town, but presumably it can return one of those errors. That's weird. Doesn't seem that it can produce an error. Oh well, let's have a look. Developer builds huge town explosion. Maybe. But let's see what happens. So here we go. So in theory, that town explodes. Then, is there a delay still? That town explodes. Imagine this being in the game. Whoa. I've never seen anything like this before. This is ridiculous. The strange things you can do with scripts. Can the output be null? Maybe. Yeah, but we're not capturing that whatever it returns. So as long as it doesn't crash, we'll be all right. We could probably make it go faster. Hang on. Yeah, let's take the sleep out of it. Let's take the delay out of it. Run it again. So that one's gone. That one's gone. Oh, it's going much quicker now. I wonder if a town gets eaten and then the growth explosion, would it claim new tiles from its current limits? Probably grow through. It would go through the existing road infrastructure and then grow again, right? See, that one's not really doing much. Pretty cool, right? I mean, this is not how we're going to use it. We're not going to use it in this manner, right? To blow up every town on the map. I mean, we could do. This could be one of the ending scenarios. Will this be available for download after the Hellish Royale? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to make this available. This script. We could potentially just make a disaster script that just adds extra disasters to the game. Forget the Battle Royale, we'll just add extra disasters. It can't grow other town roads. Oh, so those that are surrounded aren't doing anything. Yes. But then, yeah, you could do it so that once a year a town explodes. Easily. That would be a very easy script to make. This would be very bad on a public multiplayer server. Yes, it would. Imagine playing a game where once a year a town explodes like this. It could potentially be a town that's already got stuff around it. So, like that one didn't do anything. Maybe we... Oh, is that all 50? There we go. That's all 50 of them. And if we unpause all the construction cranes, we can actually just fast forward a touch. Oh, God. The game's chugging. It's struggling. Maybe if I just, like, don't look at the world for a second. There we go. We actually haven't got the... Oh, world population. Is now nearly 3 million. You have no choice but to immediately buy up the land around the cities from the beginning. Maybe. I mean, the intention isn't to do this, right? The intention is just to increase something. You'd love to play a game with the whole map exploded like this. Just go into the... just go into the scenario editor and do it. Like, just put a new town down and then just click the town. You can click expand. It does exactly that. Just look through the API. What you could do is have a companion new GRF with a new rail type that has a smaller speed limit and convert all the rail. Yeah, there is a lot of things you could potentially do with... Oh. Oh, no, wait. Are you guys still there? I think I broke OpenTTD. Oh dear. So there was my answer. No, a surrounded town will not grow. Yeah. So that settled that with a bit of fun. I'm still here, but OpenTTD has crashed. I've crashed the game. Yes. We're still here, but it's all broken. Oh dear. Whoops. Oops-a-daisy. Right. Oh no, wait. No. Oh dear. Let's go back to the code. Let's ignore that OpenTTD is broken. That's weird, that, because I was in the scenario editor. I wasn't running my script. The limit is what? I'm not sure that's really the limit though. I can't get OpenTTD to close. Oh, I just managed it. I want to see if I can replicate that, because that could be a potential bug, right? The game can handle much larger towns. So here we go. We're back in game, right? Yeah, so this is the scenario editor. What I did was I added a town, right? And I expanded it. And I kept expanding it, right? And it got past 8. The game is going slow. But it's not broken. Oh, wait. Ooh. Every time I expand this, it is having a lag peak. So if I do it quickly, am I going to then break OpenTTD? Oh, yeah, I think I did it again. Have you tried to raise the tile or lower tile functions? You can't get them to work. You need to be not in company mode. Yeah. So we did that a couple of things ago. Is it all of the animated tiles? I don't think so. I think it's something to do with town growth expansion. And yeah, I think I've crashed the game again. Try turning off the pretty town mod. That's a good point, Brandon. Could be that, yeah, the game's not responding again. Yeah, we'll turn that off. Definitely have to turn that off before testing. Okay, so GRFs. Remove all of these. Scenario editor. Let's see if, yeah, let's see if we can crash the game again. Ready? Here we go. No, we've managed it again, I think. Managed to break the game. Could a couple of people in chat, if you feel comfortable doing it, see if they can crash OpenTTD by doing the same thing? I mean, do we want to bother the devs with, I did something stupid and it broke it? Oh dear. Hello Twitch chat. Hello. Sorry, I don't always see Twitch chat. Let's go and have a look, seeing as everything's crashed. We've currently got nine viewers on Twitch chat. Hello Twitch chat. You're not completely forgotten. Yeah. Oh, my screen's gone white now. You guys can't see it, but it's gone white on my side. There we go. What am I doing? I go back to my face because that's... Oh. Nope, no. Game appears to be completely gone. With a larger town, it takes the game longer to walk the roads looking for new houses to place. That's true, Red Slime. But if I pressed the button once and waited, it was okay. Pressed it once and waited, it was okay. Then I spammed the button, it crashes. So I think there should be like a rate limiter to the expand button to stop potential crashing. Yeah, I did break the game again. The number of times. This is kind of a half. This is actually a serious thing. The number of times I've had to apologize to the developers for breaking their game. Open the frame rate. Well, maybe. Yeah. 60,000 for you. I think it depends on a couple of things. off to Twitch to sub to Hellish. Oh yeah, definitely. If you've got, especially if you've got a Prime sub to use, yeah, much appreciated. Is it crashing or is it just hanging to process all your clicks? Red Slime, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The operating system seems to think it crashed. Yeah. Ah, interesting, DJ Egg. With a different road algorithm, it doesn't crash. Maybe we could test this a little bit more sometime. Oh, it's hanging. There we go. Prime sub. Thank you very much for your Prime sub. Derby Gas. Is that Derby or Derby? Derby Gas? Right, what am I doing? Oh yeah, OpenTTD Dev. I just try it. Default settings not crashing. Ooh, okay. Let's have a look at this. So if we go into settings and we go for town layout and we change the town layout to be original. Oh, hang on, what's default for this? Yeah, original, right. Then back into the scenario editor, chuck a town down. I mean, it grows slower. Derby. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I don't always just get that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm aware of Derby. I've been past it many times. And we did the Hellish weekend in Nottingham. By the way, at the moment, we are, I think, 4 videos into our shorts for the Hellish weekend. I'm wondering. I probably need Spiff's mouse clicker tool. It's not Spiff's tool, but I hear him talk about it on his videos. Not as much passing. Oh, come on. Don't be so hard on yourself. See, I've only got up to 91,000 in population. Right. When it crashes, there's a crash report. Oh, yeah. So if there's no crash report... Yeah, it's an auto-clicker. But it seems like a highly configurable clicker that he's got. I'm sure there's some information like on Reddit somewhere. So yeah, if it hasn't crashed and it's just hanging, that's different. But look, I'm not able to get mine to crash or hang, shall we say. I wonder what would happen if I just left the process running. Maybe it would come back. Yeah, there's many auto-clickers. I could probably make an auto-clicker, right? Although I think you would like the old steam locomotive roundhouse. Hang on a minute. I was looking at going there tomorrow. I'm not, because I had to do other things in the end. Tried it and it hangs a long time, but resumes after a while. Okay, we'll just keep that in mind for now. I'm not sure we need to bother the devs with that. It doesn't crash. It only works on it only happens on certain road layouts, and eventually it does actually come back to life. So let's leave the devs alone, shall we? Right then, out of OpenTTD, abandon the scenario editor. 2x2 also hangs, but not as long. All right. This is something that I love about this community. You know, you guys are so collaborative. It's fantastic. It really is. Oh, I'll tell you something. Speaking about finding bugs in games that I play, I found a bug in Machinki. Reported it to the devs, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we didn't notice that." Oh, apparently we're getting a hype train on Twitch, everybody. Oh, we job your sub with Prime. That's 2 Prime subs over there now. Okay, so what happens now? Apparently we're 62% towards a hype train, a level 1 hype train or level 2 hype train. We've got 4 minutes. Has anybody else, right, got a Amazon Prime but are not Prime sub to me on Twitch? Worked out how to do it. Only taken me a year, says VW. Well, there we go. I wonder what would happen when we get to the next level. Everybody, how many of you? All 83 of you, just run over to Twitch now. If you've got Prime, sub with that and then come back again. Right then, the world's first roundhouse robot. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got distracted, didn't I? Let me have a look because I sent my dad a link. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I'm just looking from my chats here. So this is the Yorkshire Group Garden Railway Show at Barrow Hill Roundhouse. Is that it? It is near Chesterfield. So no, that's not it. Because Derby is much further south. There's two different ones. There's two different roundhouses. Okay, well, I was looking at going to the roundhouse in Chesterfield, but due to a couple of small factors, I decided not to take that visit sometime now. Oh, Ben, sorry. Ben has also used their Prime sub on Twitch. Thank you very much. Have we reached... Oh, no. What percentage is that? Come on, Twitch. Hurry up. 93%. Oh, that's no good, apparently. We need one more. Right. Back to coding, eh, folks? Let's crack on. So, we have a earthquake disaster where we can choose the epicenter, how severe it is, and the duration. Fantastic. We have a town growth explosion where we can choose the town, the amount that it's going to grow by, and how many times it loops through that. And it's a very simple one, but it works. Okay. Now, maybe we should actually move the code to zoom everybody to the town explosion. What do you think? Yeah, you tried 3x3 grid and it's super laggy. Yeah. Maybe there's some optimization to be made there then. Like a super thing. Hype Train gives people some who participate some trash emotes. Maybe it does. Hi Egg on Twitch. Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you very much to Mayonnaise? Sorry, I just butchered your name. I need to put the I butchered your name cap on. There we go. There you go. There's my punishment. Do I need? Oh, here we are. Did you? Oh, that doesn't help me enough, Egg. Do I need a cap that says, sorry, I butchered your name, and then I have to put it on every time I get a name wrong? It's Moon in a Southern Dutch accent. Ah. Next time I see a Dutch person, I will ask them to say it for me. Right, what are we thinking? So, when can we get Twitch chat back on screen? I don't want Twitch chat on screen. I don't want any chat on screen. It was too problematic. We had YouTube and Twitch chat on screen. It was too many problems. With the other original settings, it takes much longer to grow towns, so it gives more time to lag, maybe. Okay. I don't think we want the town growth explosion disaster to zoom all the players to the disaster. They're going to have to just find the town for themselves. I would like to do one more test, though. And that is, I'm going to grow it by 1 a lot. So, where is it gone? Here it is. So we're not going to do it for all the towns. But then what we're going to do is we're going to grow it for 1 by 1,000, right? So this should be much more incremental, right? The town growth was quite obvious. Yeah, it is if it's going to be that big. It's not always going to be that big when we do it, Brandon, okay? So, clicking the news article should zoom on the city. Yes. Yes, you're right. And we'll probably integrate that as well. So, let's go to OpenTTD. New game. And did we remove the script? Hang on a second. Yeah, there's no script running. That's weird. Oh, I know why. Because there was no script running when I opened OpenTTD, and then I crashed out of it, which means it didn't save the config to the file. So it didn't remember it. Normally it would remember it, like when you close out the game properly. So, Hellish Royale, accept. Let's go again. Oh, we got an I. We got a leftover I. That's supposed to be 0 for the testing purposes. There we go. Let's try again. Okay, so this town's going to grow. So you can see that it's growing much slower, although it's the other algorithm. Oh, you know what? We need to switch back. Let's see. Settings. Town road layout 3x3. The weird thing is, right? Now here's something, folks. When the towns grew like crazy in the game, it didn't hang. When it grew like crazy in the scenario editor, it did. Huh? So there we go. Okay, so that is the kind of rate of town growth that you can do by adding one thing like 100 times. So you can make it much slower if you want to. And by adjusting those two variables, you can choose how big and how explosive it is. Okay. Not trying to grow beyond its limits, I suppose. Maybe. It grows while paused. Yep, because the script gets run while paused, but the buildings don't generate until you unpause, right? Because it's script side. Oh, we got a chest, a hype chest. We got a button emote. Yeah, we go. Oh, I think the hype train's over. There we go. A Twitch thing happened. Right then, folks. Oh, actually, while we're all here, I've got a quick reminder for you all. If you want to support me, okay, and many of you do, consider ordering, right, the Network 36 t-shirt off my store. Should come up here in a second. There it is. Okay. Because that is going to stop. We're not going to be putting the pre-orders in once we get to the end of September. And if I don't get enough pre-orders, might not do it again. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. WeW said, my pin badges have arrived. They're awesome. I'm glad you like your pin badges, Wee. Yeah. I think DGA got a bunch of stuff that he posted in Discord as well. The badges are cool. I like the tags. Obviously, the train whistles. And I'm hoping this t-shirt is going to be brilliant as well. It's certainly... The samples that I got really good as well. Right. Town planning. Yeah. So then if we go back to the game... And you can see that the town population hasn't changed yet, but I've got a funny feeling like it's going to update quickly pretty soon, right? Right? Oh wait, there we go. There's the town population recalculating. 15,000. So that's fine, right? I'm happy with that. We're not going to do the scroll to tile. We're going to keep this as... oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. We're going to just leave that in there for now for our testing. And we'll maybe look at another disaster. Should we look at the EMP? Because the scenario editor expands randomly 0 to 10. So the larger the town, the more it tries to grow. But we grew some large towns already. It's strange. So should we see about like stopping vehicles and removing random orders from their lists? What time is it? Oh my goodness, it's nearly time. We haven't got much long left of the stream. We've got some nice little disaster stuff going on. I mean, we could start this, right? But we're not going to finish it. So maybe we can just like make plans and tell you what if I plan it out and I try and get it ready for next time, and we'll start next time by demoing the EMP. Okay. I just realised the function names are capitalised and the variables are not. And I think that's how it's meant to be. I'm not sure. So, for the EMP, we're going to have to... is the list of vehicles per company? Let's have a look at the documentation. Have I got important... what's going on? No, it's okay. So, there is a list of vehicles, right? If you go into vehicle, there is things you can do with like particular vehicles, right? But there is a data structure called... am I in the right place? I'm not 100% sure. GS vehicle list. Yeah, here we go. Right. So we're probably going to need to interact with the GS vehicle list. And there's an example down here where you can get vehicles in depot. And it looks like it's got a filter as well. In Scenario Editor, you basically ask it to grow 1,000 times at once on a million town. The script didn't come anywhere near those numbers. Oh, right, okay. I mean, I think I did 1,000 times. But when it grows 1,000 times, is it multiplying multiple houses by that amount? We could give it a quick test. We could give it a quick test. All we got to do is go back to here, re-enable this code, and just say, look, we're going to do like 10 or even 100 houses, or even 1,000 houses. No, 100 houses 1,000 times. Right? And we'll just see what happens. So there it is. It hasn't even there must be something different about the way that it expands in the scenario editor and in the game, right? Because that number, the population number, isn't changing. The game isn't lagging, and it's continuing to expand. Okay. Well, we've got those green... Look at the green belt of trees. I know somebody mentioned it earlier, but... It's like a green ring of trees that I've never noticed before. There you go, it's finished. Oh, biscuit, look, there it is. There's your green ring. Right, hang on a minute. Let's go back. Instead of making it 1,000, let's make it 3,000. Okay. Let's really push it and see what it does. Okay. Okay, so there's the town growing as fast as it possibly can. Volcano creates a mountain around a central square and increases the height to the maximum height or a specific height. Destroys everything in the area of the mountain. Yeah, volcano, that could be that could do it. This is running great. This is running fine. I mean, it's still growing. I am pretty sure there is something different about the way that town growth works when the game's running and town growth works when you are in the scenario editor, and that when you spam it in the scenario editor, it causes the hang. You could randomly have things explode in a radius to simulate rockets flying out. Yeah. Does this confirm that town grid layouts line up with other towns? I'm pretty sure that we confirmed that previously. Like, look, that grid layout lines up. That grid layout lines up. That grid layout lines up. That one, you can't even tell. All the towns are on grid. No, it's not different. You can look at the game code. I mean, I'm not saying I know, right? I'm saying based on what I'm seeing here, it seems like it. So we could have a good look at it. But there seems to be a difference because this town hasn't even realised it's grown in terms of the population numbers that it's counting yet. Right? But it did it in the scenario editor. I think it's finished growing. Right? But then, like, if we fast forward, eventually we get to a certain point where it realizes, and the population of the town skyrockets. Which we didn't see that in the scenario editor. The growth algorithm is probably the same, but the way it is called may be different. Exactly, Egg. There seems to be a difference between... And you've got to remember, I'm doing this via the API. I wonder how big it's going to grow to. Can I fast forward to make it go faster? Ah, that's interesting. This is only 300,000. So maybe it is smaller? Then again, there's less bigger houses. I think it's because maybe they all grew too quickly. Maybe it just needs to grow more to crash. I'm not sure, but we did it 3,000 times. Actually, I think you can run expand town with an argument of 0 to get the same growth that growth expand does. Oh, so okay, let's try that. 0, and let's do it 3,000 times. We won't spend too much longer on this. We'll continue to design the next bit. Right, so it's not doing it. It doesn't seem to be doing it. You can't pass a 0. No, you can't pass a 0. We just found that out as well. It doesn't do anything. I mean, I don't know if the script's erroring in the background or giving light, or it's just not working, but anyway, there we go. There's a check. All right, okay. So we have those two functions. Now we're gonna get the vehicle list. We got sidetracked, didn't we? So there's a get vehicle game script vehicle list. That is just its own thing. And you can do. Looks like you can do a filter. Yeah, filter function. Look. And the filter function is what you'll be right. Okay, params to give it filters. So if we, in theory, if we don't give it a filter function, it will do a list of all vehicles, right? And then you can just like loop around them. You could get it to check the size of the town and increase it by a random 1 to 10%. Yeah, that's something we could look at doing. your game did crash at 500,000 in the Sonora editor, and your computer isn't the best or fastest ever. Yeah. Also, the houses do not instantly grow because it's paused. Yep, that's another. There's so many variables, right? But I did unpause it on one test, so. Right, now, I don't know. There is. Is there an is stopped in depot, is in depot? They seem to be the only ises. Oh, is articulated. I guess that would be a filter as well. But would this be for all the ones for all companies, right? Let's do some debug printing, right? So we'll figure this out. So local list equals get a list, and then what we're going to do is I'll have a look at this class, and we won't do a news message. We will log. We'll do a log, info log for. Oh no, these lists are different, aren't they, from normal lists? Yeah. Here's an example. These lists bake my noodle, right? So for each vehicle in the list, there's going to be a key and a value. And the value is the vehicle, right? So in theory, it's going to be a list of type vehicle. Oh, I wasn't showing you the code. There's the code. Maybe it's some get ownery thing. Yeah, that's what we're going to have a look at now. So in theory, if we go down to vehicle, we can then do get owner. So then that isn't GS cargo though, right? That is GS vehicle, right? So in GS vehicle we do get owner of the vehicle, and it should just print it. So it gives us an ID and the owner for all the vehicles, right? And then we're just going to call it. So we'll do this dot emp. Now, in theory, this should work on. Oh, will it work on saves that don't already have a script? I don't know actually, because obviously I want to be able to. Okay. Let's load a game. Let's load. Transport type battle. Let's load that. And we go to game script settings. We can't select a game script. Damn. So what we're going to have to do is have a look. Can we get that to happen every so often? Yeah, once a day. Fine. Once every day, we'll list out every vehicle. It'll be a nightmare, but we can pause it and just go and have a look. Because that's a good way of doing it, isn't it? So, AI settings will add 3 hogs. we've got the script in. We'll do a new game. Oh dear. Ticks past 0. Wrong number of parameters. Look, we've got a wrong number of parameters screen. Yes, because that isn't supposed to be like that. Fixed it. Okay, so now wrong number of parameters again. 954. Thought I fixed that. No, that is the correct number of parameters now. Have I played Locomotion on the channel before? I don't think I've done it on the channel. I have played it, and it is planned to be on the channel in the future. Okay, let's try going out. Back into the game. Okay, it didn't go wrong yet. So then, if we unpause... Oh, we don't need to look at that. What we want to look at is the 2 company information... Oh, 3 company informations. So they haven't got any vehicles yet. But in theory, as soon as one of them has vehicles, our script should start printing it out. Oh, no. So one of them started building track or something. There we go. 2 road vehicles, ID 3. So that works. Once the other 2 companies start... So that's 3 road vehicles. Oh, there we go. And we've got another company coming in there. So I've paused it. Let's have a closer look. So there's going to be some repetition about this. So I think... Hang on a minute. Nope, not there. 20... Oh, here. Okay, so they're not grouped by company. But look, 28.2, 28.2, 27.3, 27.3, 26, 26, 25, 25. So that appears to be one complete loop, right? Here. That's one list. And in that list, we've got a bunch of IDs and 2 different company types. And one company has 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles, and the other company has 1, 2 vehicles. And if we go back to the screen, 2 vehicles and 4 vehicles. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. I know that it's really its own game, but it'd be really nice if OpenLoco implemented a few features from this, like drag in to create rails and signals. I think it's the engine, the way that the game's written is way too different. I think drag in is not really an option. If you want, to be honest, I think the best way is the way that Machinki does it. It does the dragging, but it does the bending. It's the best of both worlds. I think so. It's just, yeah. Anyway, the scripts, the concept in the script's working, right? So this is a list of vehicles, of all the vehicles, right? No matter what the company is. What about Factorio's track lane? Oh, well, we can do some more of that on Monday, Brandon. We can. Much more Factorio track lane. If anybody's interested, the Factorio that we're doing on the Community Gaming Night, check out the Discord, is we're going to be looking at trying to finish the track and the stations around our existing infrastructure before the live stream even starts. And I think the idea is then at the beginning of the live stream on Monday, we can just start delivering stuff to the bus and start building the mega bus, right? Anyway, our proof of concept for an EMP is we've got a list of vehicles, Then we can do things with that vehicle. Here we're doing get owner and we're printing it to the log, right? But if we have a look over here, we can do silly things like center depot, right? Sure, there's a center depot. Sell wagon, refit, clone, build, is in depot. Get location. So if something happens to a vehicle, you can get its location. Age, age left, state, running costs, value. I'm sure it's here, right? Start, stop vehicle. We could do that. Like every day it starts or stops it. Every vehicle on the entire map. We're going to be finishing anyway soon, Game Breaker Zero, but thank you very much. Yeah, you got a work trip? Have a good trip. Thank you very much. Yeah, you could reverse it just to try. We're going to do start, stop as kind of like a trolley testy thing. So for everyone in the list, we're going to start, stop the vehicle. And it's going to be the GS vehicle, so it's the... Yeah, GS vehicle, and then we're calling it key. We'll probably change that. No, hang on a minute. Oh, you use the key for both, yeah. The value is, I think, empty or something. These lists are ridiculous. I don't like them. They're different to the sorts of lists I'm used to. I can't get my head around it yet. I will do. But we just seem to be using the key everywhere. So in theory, every day the vehicle should either stop or start. Which is ridiculous. But that's exactly the path that we're going down with this. Okay, so I've saved that. I'm going to run my app to pull the script over. We will just restart this, I think. Right, let's restart. Unpause. No errors so far. If we pull up the company informations, then we'll be able to see which ones get vehicles. I'll just do a little bit of fast... Oh, hang on, you guys can't see. There we go. So we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding. We've got some road vehicles here. The road vehicles, road vehicles. So if we have a look at the road vehicle... Are all of these vehicles just going to stop on the... Oh, no, they didn't. It didn't work. If possible, you could make it so that not all the trains stop, but rather the trains that don't stop get signals, implying brakes. Yeah. I mean, we're just testing a few random... Oh, wow. It's using ISR. You likely need company mode to control the vehicles. Oh, let's have a quick look at that. Stop vehicle. Yeah, it's in company mode. Right. So let's do that quickly. We'll have to get the company of the vehicle, go into that company mode, and then just go to the next one. So, where did we go into company mode for something? I think we did it for one of our tests, like our test script. So this is the randomization. That's something else. Here we go. This is us going into company mode here to lower a tile. So we just go into company mode. That's it. So let's do that. So when we go down here, that's the owner. So if we go into company mode and we say GS vehicle owner, we don't want to log it anymore. Get rid of the log. Then after going into company mode, we stop it. There we go. Yeah, it was in the Raisin Lower Land. It's in Rainbow Company as well. It's in so many things, right? This is the good thing about having this sort of set of examples. The more we learn, the more we make, and the more we produce, the more we can build on, stand on the shoulders of our own giants. Okay, let's see what happens. So, unpause. Hog, hog, hog. This one's got a train already. I don't know what's going on. I think it's confused because it stopped and started. Yeah, every day it's stopping and starting. Are the other ones going to get any vehicles? Oh, we got some road vehicles. Yep, there we go. It stopped. It's starting. It stopped. They're stopped. They're starting. Oh. So we could definitely do stuff like this. This is part of like the EMP disaster, so we've kind of got the kind of basics together for that. We have. And also it looks like it depends when it was started as to which one of the route they're on. It can't add new carriages because we started the train. Oh yeah, there's that. I mean, obviously this is the AI, so human players will be like, oh no, it started, I need to get it back inside. So you imagine the amount of chaos that's going to happen in a game that's running this particular script. And we've only done 2.5 disasters so far. Okay, and we've got quite a lot of tweaking and stuff to do. I mean, I don't see any trains on this line yet. Great stream. Got my chores done while listening. Well, I'm glad you got something done. Sometimes when I am got streams and videos going, I'll do things at the same time as well. But I think we're going to call it there for now. Remember, folks, you guys can contribute to this in many ways. Just by talking to us about it, you are helping with the project, so that's cool. Come over to the Discord, get yourselves in the Mod Dev channel, and talk there about it as well. I'm not sure if we should have a thread for this particular script in that channel, so check it out. But also, if you want to send me code snippets that you think would be useful, do so through that thread on the Discord. And of course, this stuff is on the GitHub as well, so you could make your own changes and actually do a commit to push your changes or request to push your changes. But for tonight, that's going to be all. Thank you very much for watching. There is the Mega Mix Season 11 video number 2 coming out tomorrow, along with a few shorts of OpenTTD that are coming out at the moment. Hope you enjoy them if you're the sort of person who likes shorts on their YouTube feeds. And we will see you hopefully all for Factorio Monday night. And if not, I'll see you for Theme Hospital next Thursday. That's all from me for now. Thank you. Take care. And for now, goodbye, everybody. Take care. Bye.